I'm Dave and this is Logan, out once again for a walk in the countryside. Thanks for joining us. Now today we're at a place called Hawkley in Hampshire. It's about 2 miles to the west of Liss and the A3, just inside the South Downs National Park. And today we're going to be doing a roughly 4-mile circular route, although it'll feel at times like it's 5 miles, starting and finishing in the village. And our route is going to take us over some undulating countryside, some beautiful woodland, through sunken tracks, some old drove roads. We'll be exploring the POETS stone and also checking out Cobbett's View. And I expect we'll come across some other interesting things along the way. Now I'm filming at the end of September, but it's a glorious sunny day. Very few clouds in the sky. Nice little breeze to keep us cool. Should be perfect conditions for walking. So do come along with us. Well, I've parked my car at the village hall. What an impressive building that is as well. I think it was refurbished in 2011. And I was having a quick look round, and on the veranda there are some carved names. I wonder if those are the names of villagers at the time. And what a beautiful setting the cricket pitch has in front of it, with the trees and hills behind. Anyway, we're going to start off by having a quick look at some things in the village, particularly the church. And this is the church of St. Peter and St. Paul, looking quite splendid in the morning sunshine. It dates from 1865, when it was built on the site of a previous Norman-style medieval chapel. It's a nave of 3 bays with aisles, a chancel with shorter north and south chapels, and there's a tall western tower, and I believe it has 8 bells. Well, let's have a quick look inside, and I have managed to find the lights. Oh, what a fantastic rose window ahead, and that's Christ in the middle, surrounded by angels. Beautiful. And then just slowly panning around. I believe these windows are of the other disciples, and then over here there's the font. I think that might have come from the original church, and it's something like 700 years old. Beautiful. And the other thing that I want to have a look at, slowly turning around, this is the best time to come, just as the sun is coming up. Now the chap there, he's looking to the left. Now that I think is St. Paul, and if I go over to the other side, I think that must be St. Peter. I hope I've got those the right way around. Well, just outside the church by the porch, there are 3 quite stunning yew trees. I wonder how old these are. And look at this one here being propped up. I know I often say this, but you have to just stand and admire nature and something that's lived this long. And this is the village pub, the Hawkley Inn. I don't have too much information about it, other than there is a ghost called Charlie, a former landlord, according to their website. And an old 1913 map shows the pub name as the Queen's Arms. Well, just behind me here is this quite enchanting village green. Isn't that pretty? Okay, we're going to start heading out into the countryside now, heading down Cheescombe Farm Lane. It's actually part of the Hangers Way, a 21-mile long distance path from Alton Railway Station all the way to the Queen Elizabeth Country Park, where it joins the South Downs Way. Oh, some alpacas, a couple of them having a nice snooze in the morning sunshine. Oh, one's got a little itch. Well, if you're following this route, I'm going to be doing the walk later. This is down Cheesecombe Farm Lane, lovely shaded little road. You need to look out for a sort of concrete track that bears off to the right, keeping on to Hanger's Way. Well, already we've got some stunning views to look at just going through this field here. Look at the view in the far distance. I think that's where we're eventually heading as well. Now, I've just got to keep Logan on a lead just for this little bit, because in this field there are a couple of donkeys enjoying the shade underneath that tree there. Now, I don't know if you're going to be able to see all of this because it's quite dark underneath this shaded canopy, but this little stream here is called the Oakshott stream. And there are chalk springs to the west of here, and the stream joins the River Rother, which flows west to east for about 32 miles into West Sussex and eventually joins up with the River Arun at Stopham. We're now at Middle Oakshott, just past a really exquisite looking thatched property as we got here. Now, this is where we say goodbye to the Hanger's Way, so we're now going to carry on this little road. So Hanger's Way is to the left, and what we're going to do is carry along here and look out for a byway in about 300 yards distance on the left, and that will be our next change in direction. Aha, now this is what I was looking for, and although there isn't a, oh yes, there is a sign just hidden there, Bridle Way, and we now come into this field, and Logan can have a little bit of off lead up the side of it, and well, eventually this will take us to the base of, I think it's called Happersnaper Hanger. Hanger, by the way, is an ancient word for well, steep wooded slope, and as we'll find out later, it does get steep. Oh dear, I think these two have seen better days, don't you? Might struggle to get those through the MOT. They look quite sad looking. Matty Ferguson. I'm puffing and panting already. We haven't even started the steep bit yet. It's a good excuse to stop and look at the view behind. Beautiful, isn't it? In fact, looks like I'm standing right next to a little orchard. Yeah, apples shining away in the sun. Anyway, that's the field that we've come from, and now we really do start the uphill bit. Well, it is tough climbing up here, but It really is lovely and cool. I love the way the sun is just peeping through the canopy of trees above. And what I should do is put Logan on a lead and he could pull his old dad up, but he's not that keen about that. But oh, there we go, gives you an idea of the steepness. I think there's quite a few squirrels in here as well, so that's keeping his lordship amused. Oh, goodness me, wasn't expecting to see this. Looks like an abandoned vehicle. Joyriders, I expect. I don't know who'll have to move that, because this is a bridleway and I've seen plenty of hoof marks on the ground, so it does get used. Oh, I'm going to have to carefully make our way around. Ooh. Oh crumbs, there's two of them. Make sure there's no glass on the ground. Ooh. Oh, that's a shame. Yeah, completely smashed up. Oh, expect it'll cost a bit to remove that. Well, we're nearly at the top, but I thought I'd have another little pit stop, and this really does give you an idea of the scale of the steepness down the valley there. Predominantly beech trees by the looks of things, clinging to the side. Right, not long to the top. Haha, success! We've made it to the top, well, of this bit anyway. It really was quite a magical climb up, but if you're 15 stone and middle-aged, you might want to think about some hiking poles. Well, we're going over the top. Seems like a mountain stage of a Tour de France, doesn't it? Just passing a farm. Look down there, I wonder if those are some old dog kennels. They might be. Do you fancy one of those, Logan? Ah, beautiful late summer scene. Looks like a crop of winter wheat, I'm not 100% sure, that's been sown. The little shoots glinting in the sunshine. And we're right by a blackberry bush, so there we go, little pit stop, pick some for you. And this is a little change in direction here as well. So that's the road that we've just come off from, the sort of the top of the hanger, and we're now going to head along here, Old Lytton Lane. A lovely property. Now, according to some very old maps, there was an old Methodist chapel here, but that doesn't really look like a Methodist chapel to me. Although look at that window there, that does look very sort of chapelish. I wonder if that it was once a chapel and then it's been totally refurbished. I don't know. Oh, isn't that sweet? Old Lytton Cottage. Beautiful. And if I turn round, it's got some terrific views to the front. What a quite idyllic setting. Well, we're now going to rejoin the Hanger's Way, and there are going to be two little detours on this walk, both for some quite magnificent views. So the first detour we're going to take, and there's a signpost behind me on Hanger's Way, we're heading to the Shoulder of Mutton Hill. Wow. And this is our first viewpoint. Unfortunately, the camera's pointing straight to the sun. So this is the viewpoint from the Shoulder of Mutton Hill. And there is actually a little information board down here, which I'll put up on screen. If you want to read it, you can freeze it. But it does tell us that about midway down the hill, there's something called POETS Stone. So we're going to have a look, see if we can find that, and I'll tell you all about that when we get there. But oh, what a beautiful place to come and There's a bench here to sit and reflect. We'll actually get a better view as we head down. That is just breathtaking. That must be the South Downs in the far distance. I'm not 100% sure. Is it the back of Butser Hill? I'm not trying to get my bearings, but and the birds twittering in the background just add to the peaceful aspect to this vista. Well, I tell you, this view just gets better and better and better the further downhill I come. Incredible. Just in front of me is the Poet's Stone and a handy little bench to rest next to it. And this is the Poet's Stone, dedicated to the memory of Edward Thomas, who was killed in the First World War. He was a local chap, and this is a sarsen stone brought from Avebury in Wiltshire. He's also commemorated at Poets' Corner in Westminster Abbey, and the plaque on there is from one of his essays. And I rose up and knew I was tired, and I continued my journey. Apparently these steep hangers inspired many of his poems, including Up the Wind, The New House and Wind and Mist. It really is quite... I struggle to come up with words to describe some of these scenes. I hope it's coming across, because it's quite a hazy day now, and almost too sunny, if that doesn't sound daft. The only downside of making my way down to see this stone is I've got to go back up again. I can see why this place is called Little Switzerland. Just enjoying some shade. I'll tell you, that view from the stone was incredible. Well worth going down and then back up again. So we've now come off Hangers Way, and we will be going down this track here that'll be going downhill back to the village. But there's one more detour that I want to make for another brilliant view, and that is just down this track here. Need to go about 300 yards or so. Now, for viewers that might be doing this walk later, you need to look out for these steps on the left hand side, because there's no sign, as far as I can see, that tells you what they are or where it leads to. But this is going to take us to Cobbett's View. Right, here we come. You ready for this, folks? Wow. It just takes your breath away, doesn't it? Wonderful. And we are quite high up here. There's a trig point just by me here, which Logan has just bagged. 817 foot, one of the highest points in Hampshire. It's called Cobbett's View after William Cobbett. Of course, he wrote Rural Rides, published in the 1830s. It was basically a series of rides that he did on horseback through the countryside in the southeast and the Midlands, and he basically wrote down what he saw. And he came here in 1822 to this exact spot, and he wrote, "Out we came, all in a moment, at the very edge of the hanger, and never in all my life was I so surprised and so delighted. I pulled up my horse and sat and looked, and it was like looking from the top of a castle down into the sea, except that the valley was land, not water." It really is. I say, speechless. I guess that when Cobbett was here, the A3 dual carriageway wasn't in his eyesight. Definitely time for a pit stop and cool down a bit. That's better, isn't it? Good boy. We're now on the homeward leg, taking us back to Hawkley village. And we're actually going down a track, down, appropriately named Down Hanger. And I've got some great views as I go along. Enjoying this very welcome shade, but from time to time I can peep through the trees on the right hand side and then get some beautiful views again over that gorgeous countryside. Well, this really is your quintessential sunken track with steep banks either side. I imagine this must be an old ancient route, possibly a drover's road, I don't know. I love the shapes that the tree roots make on the banking there as the soil gradually gets eroded away. Nearly the end of the walk, but it really is smashing through here. So I've got this shade, and either side there's this sort of green vegetation that's quite atmospheric, and the sun, of course, as I've mentioned before, above, and plenty of squirrels and a few butterflies floating about. Really is quite a peaceful walk. Well folks, we've come to the end of our walk. We thought we'd do the end scene back up here by the Poets Stone. If you did enjoy it, then please do give us a thumbs up and a like, and do leave a comment. We've had a super walk today. The weather has been quite outstanding and the scenery, well, quite magical. We're going to finish off back at the pub in Hawkley for a well-earned pint. So until we meet again, thanks for watching and cheerio.